My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. Here we are. It is 4:36, February 2nd. The market had a strong day, second day in a row of strength. Yesterday gave us some clues that potentially the market's not done yet. So, we've had a lot of positions across the board. A lot of them worked out very well today. Some not so well, some just percolating, a lot of the same old. Hard to see such a big move happen, in the SPYs in 2 days just like that. So I know for me, my biggest loss today was my hedge. I still made really good money, but I kind of get more annoyed when my hedge loses me this amount of money. I'd rather lose long than try and be prudent with the hedge and have it continue to go up and not really get a way to trade around it. But that's my own little craziness. So with all that being said, let's get to it. Here's the S&P. You can see it right there. This was your break. So again, as long as things kind of navigate in a way, if you reduce risk, you could always put it back on after market discovery. Like here was your break after red dog reversal. So from 38.70, we hit 3,700, almost 170 handles to the downside. Oscillator hit minus 60, so it was a good spot to cover some shorts. And then on this day, which was yesterday, gave some signs that, hey, maybe we're not that weak or we're not going to continue the downside. And really, tech gave us a lot more reasons for that. By the way, keep looking out on Amazon if you see any, all of a sudden one more thing news where they split it. Not saying they're going to. I'm just saying, keep it out there. So, what was I going to say? So anyway, it was hard to see that this move was going to take us all the way back to 34.83 that fast. So 1, 2, 3, 4 days down, almost back in 2 days. So got to be fast. You got to move fast. And you got to know what you can handle. That's what we preach here. The Qs, definitely. If you look at the Qs, how could you have seen a little bit of a signal? Well, when 320 got taken out, that was your signal that hey, we're not that weak. And that's why I went from 12 positions on Monday to coming in today with 22, and I don't even know how many I have now. This is the VTF. Did you post a VTF today at 4 o'clock?
No, I didn't. I was in my call.
All right, we got to remember to do that every single day, 10 to 4. A lot of people need a little bit extra time to look at it. So anyway, this is the what I went home with, the positions and whatnot, and a little late, Tress. Anyway, so let's move down. Sorry that we'll start setting alarm and trying to post a VTF a little bit closer to 4 o'clock. Red Pup will make sure he does it at 3:50, not 3:58, so you get a chance to look at it. But just to let you know, sometimes at 3:59, I make last-minute decisions to buy, sell, do things. So if I do it too early, you might not be able to see what's happening. Anyway, so what a move, right? All the way back through 326. We'll see what happens now. I definitely lost a little bit of money on the hedge. We'll see what happens now. The best thing would be is if it would just kind of chill out a little bit, right? Chill out here, make a new, digest above the gap, and not run away, and then potentially then make a move instead of just a fast and furious trade that definitely hurts people. So anyway, the range got bigger. This now is what? This is 328.87. Today's low is now your gap pivot, 325.31. So just say 325. So that's your new point of reference in there. We'll just depending on how long it stays in there, how fast the movement will be. That's it. So there's your cues. And make sure to wait a little bit so it updates. Sector-wise, if you remember last week, I was trying to buy the dip in JP Morgan and the banks and made a little bit of money, but I got away from it. Meanwhile, the XLF had a very, strong move for itself. So now, at least you have a gap to trade against. This definitely could be a new active sequence here. This got taken out. Here was your lower pivot. So as long as it holds this gap now, maybe you're in a swing trade. The strength in the banks were sold on earnings and all of a sudden found its footing here, and now we'll see what's next. It's back above the moving averages. Now dips could be bought carefully, I guess. I still would be very careful trying to buy any strength. What's this now? 30.19. I think it's a crowded trade. It's gonna be a lot about. I'm not on that. All right, so that's that. Someone said, should they be short Amazon? I don't know. I think it's a hard long, hard short here. It's just in a range. It's probably going to be a very, very noisy trade. So I'm going to stay away from it. I'll have my options on. Risk is premium paid, but we'll get to that. IBB pushed above this little level here. I'm actually still long from yesterday in IBB. We'll see how that goes. Perhaps it has continues to move up. Let's save that. IWM pushed above this 211, took back the moving averages yesterday. Just bigger range now. There's the upper end of the range. I guess in the scheme of things, it wasn't really that much of a pullback. Oops, sorry. All right, moving on. Oh, the Jets. Still in this channel. I would not be over trading the actual Jets itself. If you think there's going to be some kind of exciting move based on stimulus or a different type of vaccine or whatever, I would just be in some June calls or July calls and let it work its way out so you're not worried about it or it's taking any of your brain power. Save this. I can stay in here. All right, now let's get into the stocks. So today was definitely a tricky day. They're still not letting things just like go and make things easy, not to say they ever are. But yesterday you had strength in Microsoft that gave some clues that the market would continue, and then today they didn't let Microsoft break out. But all in all, I think it's better that way. Microsoft could definitely use a little bit of time here. And then in time, this will probably be a name that maybe opens up tomorrow, maybe it doesn't. But this is a pivot area that it should be able to take out once it hangs out in here a little bit longer. I'm not in Microsoft, but if it sets up the way I want to play it, maybe I will. Apple was very lethargic today. Could it be a new active sequence? It could. I guess it played by some rules, right? What were the rules? Well, not really rules here. You could have bought it yesterday, traded above yesterday's high, and just went as high as 136.31, a little bit below 136.60, so just no real power. But it doesn't mean it's over. Okay, I think now you could almost put this like this. I would say maybe it stays a little bit inside, and as long as it stays above this 134.61, it's constructive and building. It's just not leading. We like when Apple leads, and it's not really leading right now. What did I just say that number one? 134. 61. So, gosh, we almost get rid of this now because it's, we have a point of reference here. And this could probably move up to where it broke out from. So now this is there. Sounds like it's raining outside. Anyway.
Still snowing.
Still snowing. So if you want to go into the earnings names, Google smashed it. Google's been trending. Google's been, I guess the chosen child. It went above 1932 earlier. Couldn't hold it until after the number. The number came out. It took off. Google right now is 2031. I did not play it. If you played it, congratulations. If you're in options, I hope it holds up till tomorrow. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. 1949. This has been setting up better. The sentiment around this has been a lot better, and it's been trading easier. So right now, Google is 2030, 80 points above it. Seems like a call spread would have worked there, but I did not take one. I did take a call spread in Amazon. I was hoping that Amazon would, have a stock split and help juice an already really strong reporting quarter. And instead, Amazon has been probably my most frustrating name of the year. And instead of a stock split, they announced that Jeff Bezos is stepping down. The guy's 57 years old. I get it. He's been there for a long time. But I don't know what that means for the stock trading wise. Long term, I'm sure it's fine, whether it's another 3 months, 6 months, a month. If you remember when Ballmer stepped down from Microsoft, everyone was all worried and it took off. I think the CEO stepped down from Google also, and it's at highs. People thought when Apple, when Steve Jobs left Apple, it was done. And meanwhile, a lot of these things have had very big moves soon. So if you're a long-term investor in Amazon, you've been in it for 5 years or 10 years, you're probably fine. If you're a trader like me, who was looking for an exciting trade, like we caught when Tesla announced their split and Apple announced their split, and you had a fast and furious special situation. Well, I don't think we're going to have a special situation, unless maybe on their conference call they come out and say it. Other than that, I can't see how it would, just to be honest. Jeff usually sells a big portion of his stock post earnings a day or two after to fund his space program, which he actually said it's what he wants to spend his time doing that in the Washington Post. His wife still has to sell shares. So the best way to do it would have been to split it 10 for 1 to have a big move and get the liquidity, get the volume, get the sellers out of the way so you can have another move. Someone's like, oh, you want just screw the retail. I'm like, no. I'm just saying that I know how things move. You have a huge channel here. It was a nice setup. It hasn't had a move in a while. It is one of the best companies in the goddamn world, but it's not really tradable right now. I like it when it's tradable. So anyway, I didn't even touch it after hours. I guess you could have bought a dip. You could have traded it a few different ways. This is now 34.27, meaning that it did pull in 100 points too. But so it is what it is. We'll see. Hey, who knows? Maybe it sits in here the next few days and then tries to go again now that this is out of the way, or not. I don't fault the guy. I just think that if this guy's really smart, the board's really smart, they would say, hey, now you're going to be out of the way, and I'm sure you're going to be selling $1 billion worth of stock every quarter instead of once a year or twice a year. But either which way, it is what it is. There's so many things going on. Doesn't have to be Amazon that takes up a lot of our brain power. Now that it's out of the way, it won't. What's been going on and been great. Hey, SPAC land's been working. There's been a lot of things working across the board. So going into SPAC land, INAQ, held in really well today. We bought a dip very well there also. So now we'll see, kind of hold above here and go sideways and then make an attempt for 1865 at some point. PSTH, if you remember, we bought that dip. That's doing just fine also. Played it to here, we bought some back, it punched through 28. I did trim some. We'll talk about that tomorrow, but right now it's still, right back into this area, which is healthy. So that's great. You can play a technical move and buy a dip, and if you have a thesis on it because you like it, it could work out. GSAH, I'm still, really big in this one. We played it well by selling strength because there weren't really that many great breakout trades here, and bought the dip and trimmed a little bit and still in, a lot of shares. Hopefully they announce a company soon. We shall see. I'm still in IPOF. Starting to wait to see what Chamath puts in here, but it had a big move, so you don't want to be too big. Could probably go sideways for a little bit. This BTWN, nice day one, big day one. So we'll see what kind of news comes out of there. I did trim some, but I tweeted to you when I bought some at around, what price did I buy BTWN? I don't know, maybe 15-ish. Oh, yeah, I'm long from 15-ish. I hit a high of 16.55. It's a timely, nice trade. What else? I just to start tracking a little bit, I nibbled a little CLII. It hit 24, had a big gap, needs to probably digest a little bit, but people really love that EVgo charging stations, so I feel like I need to get to know it a little bit better. I also bought a little bit of this IPOE on the pullback. Not much of a pullback. I hit as high as 28, so I bought some today just to to watch it a little bit more. It's this high here, but it's very small. I know that I could pull back more. I didn't chase it, so I feel like, you know, I could buy a dip and get to know it a little bit better, because I do think a lot of people love this company, and I guess so do I. Anyway, what's this low here? 23.85. You know, crypto had a really nice move. So if you remember last week when crypto was on the move, we were in some of the crypto stocks and pulled in Friday and was down a little bit yesterday, you know, while everyone was ranting and raving about silver and gold. So I did buy the dip in some of those crypto names, and so far so good. This SOS to me is very interesting. It's, you know, it's definitely a cheapy spec one, but they raised a lot of money down here and they're doing a lot of mining, and stock has, you know, been a lot higher. So to me, it was pretty easy, not easy, but yeah, I can buy a lot of it, and we'll see how it goes. EBON also, another one that's kind of off the, you know, not on the real radar, but down here in the 5 area, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna have to think about it and worry about it, but if it has a move, you know, we'll be there. So I'm in this one also. Those are the two. If you remember, we caught Riot really well, and I also caught Mara pretty well. Well, you know, I love it. I wasn't in that the way I was in Riot. Like Riot, you know, we caught all the way down here. And now it's, you know, I just feel like I don't want to be buying and trading this up here right now. This was a great trend down here. And so, you know, remember that. Boom. So I kind of think, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, you know, I feel like if you, let's see the 5-year chart, you could see it's just starting to come up. And do some homework on it. You know, if you want to take some size, definitely do some homework. But it looks like, you know, why can't it get to this area or maybe even more? If you know, if Bitcoin goes back to 40,000, and which it probably could, if not higher, maybe it breaks above this spot here. So anyway, do some homework on it if you're going to take size. That's all I have to say. Let's see. You know, yesterday we picked up this RMO. So far hasn't really had a really big push, but we played it pretty well. I bought some around, I think, I don't even remember. I bought some around 18. Yeah, I bought some around 18. Was able to sell some around 19, and then bought some around 18.26 and sell some around 19, and still not breaking out or going, but it's holding them pretty well. Let's see. What else do I have on? Is it a one-off? I bought a little HYLN back just because tried to run. If you remember here, tried to run on the day that the market just kind of got hit hard, so they just sold it down. So I just have a little bit. It's not really a, you know, over focus. What else is a one-off? Well, not a one-off. Last week we bought MSOS. What a nice trade. Bought it on the dip. Still in some, sold some. That was in this little spot, so it was good to see we could buy a dip there. We'll see if it works its way back to highs. We've had a few nice trades. I remember when Todd Harrison called me up and said, buy this for Chase. In here! Didn't do it. Anyway, he's also been all over this VFF, which I bought back again. First time we played it, it was down here, and then managed it pretty damn well, and then bought some back yesterday. Now this happened. Trimmed some, holding some. So there's a lot of different things in a lot of different sectors working. You know, the Reddit names, we did really well, or at least I hope some of you did. I did pretty well shorting premium on GME when it was around 350. I started selling options. The easier one was when I sold 485, 20, and 560s. Collected a lot of premium. The 320s were a little crazy. Here's GME. Ooh, you know, There's a time and a place, which we know as technicians. Here was a time when, hey, nice bull flag, you can still be a buyer. And then probably most people that in our technical trading world bought it in here, held some, and then maybe sold into this loose and wide day. That's probably also the day that some people said, hey, it can't go up anymore, and shorted it, and then that happened. So after that, that was that Monday, and now, this is where it is. I didn't touch it today. It did, look at that, it hit the line that I drew this morning. It's kind of cool. But anyway, it was not for me. I did short some AMC yesterday, and I stayed short all day. Some guys did that with me. It was a nice trade. I covered it though. This also came in, I guess, tested that 650. Did a red dog reversal right there. AMC, I covered some below 10. I'll probably cover the rest by the open. So I covered some. I guess you can move this down to here now. What was the low today? The low today was 6. Probably not going to be the low of the week, but I'm not shorted anymore. Big hole. Gap down, so that paid us though. We were short that gap down, which was nice. Not a good short, but sometimes I make some money short. What's this low here? That low is 1291. Yeah, probably Aaron. Still, make sure all these things update before you post them so you have the right levels.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, this little Wimmy. We tried this when the market was under pressure, so I bought some back. Decent looking chart. Don't know if all of a sudden some news comes out and gets explosive, which it might, or not. But held this area, bought it here, trimmed most, got stopped out there, and then looks like it's hanging in there again, but we'll see. Did the same thing with the CBAT, just because it's still hanging around, just nothing's out, nothing's making it pop, but we'll see. Silver, so yeah, that was the crazed the entire weekend. I did, pay up a little bit yesterday with my options, but I did go out to March 5th, and I averaged down a little bit today, and now I'm not going to play silver. I have options on. I have something if we're to have a nice big move or do something special, I'm in it. If not, it's not an obsession. It failed here, went to 27.39, couldn't get through it, came off, and then gapped down, and it's back in the base. So I don't know. We'll see what's next here. You could probably go like this now, and you have a downside gap. We'll see if it gets filled or not. At this point, my risk is premium paid with options. Whenever you see me just in options and not the stock, you're like, okay, Red Dog has a little bit of a concept on, but he doesn't want to be in the stock or the ETF because it might not work, and then your risk is endless. But if you think there's a play there, you could do some options and be in it so you don't miss it, that you can still get paid on it. And then all of a sudden, if you're in it and then you see me also in the stock, then maybe that's triggering as a technical trade besides my my thesis opinion. And that's just how to get to know me a little bit better with that. MBIO was a little disappointing, but you know what? They tried to sell the news and they couldn't. I think that news is big, the CMC lift for the overall stock. It held in there. Last time they had really good news on on their data. The shorts just tried to get it and sell it, and they were able to do it. This time not. So I think that the funds that are really smart funds that have been buying, that's been trading, $2, $3, $4 million shares a day, probably didn't want to give everyone a free ride. So they said, okay, let's just let the fast money get out of the way, because last time the fast money got out of the way, this happened, and then it ran to 520. So this time couldn't really come in, so maybe it starts acting better. It's really big news that happened today there, but it's a small company, and we'll see. There was some talk after the close that filing BlackRock took a 5% stake. So if that's the case, that's probably where some of the volume is, and BlackRock doesn't take stakes in friggin', companies that are going to make them look bad. They're big companies, so we'll see. And what else? What else? No, let's see. Google at this point, before I leave you, is hanging here. Nice wedge. Still decent amount above the momentum pivot. Amazon came back up a little bit, but still in no man's land. It's, the upper end of the channel is 35.50. It's right around where it closed, and the option sellers are going to win again. But it is what it is. Did we go? Yeah, we did that. We went over that. Went over that. Somebody said, look at Zoom. Oh, Zoom's tight. It's interesting. Back above the moving averages after a corrective phase from all the way up here. I haven't looked at this in a while. Seems as if someone gone ahead said, well, would you rather be long or short? I would think Zoom's kind of over for a little bit, considering the reopen trade, and the vaccines are going out, and in the next month we'll probably be even getting that much more opening, and then when the weather gets nice. But looks like it's set up for another pop. So that's what the chart says for now, but I'm not in it. So that said, it's 5 o'clock. I got to get going. I wish everyone the best. Apologize for Amazon for now. Maybe a miracle happens. I don't know. I'm not playing for one. But risk is premium paid. So as I said, with a lotto spread, 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 actually work. Netflix worked great. This one, not so great. But if you see some of the ones that we did without earnings, like the CCIV, look at that, $33. We bought the $20 calls, which I still have. I sold some today. What's it called? When it was 18. So those options were 2. So they were up to 14 today. So every now and then you lose your equity in options, and every now and then you score a few big ones, and you have a few big ones in a row, and then all of a sudden your option account explodes. But that's not what you make a living doing. You make a living using your system, massaging trades, looking for great chart patterns, using your moving averages, and netting money each day. And then every now and then you get something that works out extra special. So for today, Amazon's not that one. Good night, guys.